Why do players love Ayato so much, and why should you be excited for Ayato's rerun? No, the answer's not he's hot or because he has a mole on his chin, although if you're down bad and that's your personal reason to pull for Ayato, then more power to you. I can't say that I don't do my fair share of simping and C6ing characters for absolutely no reason. Today, I'm going to talk about why Ayato has high pull value and why he's definitely worth your Primo Gems from a gameplay standpoint if you're considering pulling for him. Like Kokomi, Ayato is a Hydro character that can help any account no matter if you're just starting out or you need a few more puzzle pieces on your account to consistently 36-star Spiral Abyss. There's something for everyone in this Ayato video essay / discussion video, but before we get in depth into the analysis, for the first time ever on this channel, here's a word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, you guys have probably seen one of these already, so let's make this quick and easy. I'm a busy college student and you're probably busy too, whether it be running a business, working a job, or studying in school just like me. The point is that sometimes you need a break. That's where Raid Shadow Legends comes in. The top 3 reasons why I tried out Raid on my mobile phone are because it's super casual friendly, it's got addicting turn-based gameplay, and it has PC and console graphics on mobile devices that I can just enjoy for 30 minutes daily whenever I have a break between my college classes. Now, if you can relate to anything I just described and want to download the game for yourself, you might want to know what's happening in Raid during the holiday season. Raid has prepared a special 12 days of Raid event coming for the holiday season for all new players. Once you download Raid Shadow Legends from the links provided in the description, copy your player ID, then go to 12daysofraid.plarium.com to experience a festive adventure that lasts for 12 days from December 19th to January 1st. On the website, you can play mini-games for chances to win in-game and real-life prizes that include holiday-themed champions or even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. Returning players can get another promo code if you visit the 12 Days of Raid website, so there's something for everyone. Additionally, Raid released a new legendary champion based off the MMA legend Ronda Rousey. What's great about this is that all new and returning players can get Ronda for free by just logging into Raid. All you have to do is log in for 7 days between now and February 20th and Ronda is all yours. And if you haven't downloaded Raid yet, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen right now for exclusive bonuses worth $30 US. This includes a free Epic Champion Tear Roll, plus 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard to summon another champion when you load up the game. The goodies will be waiting for you at the inbox at the top right and is only available for 30 days for new players. Once again, thank you to Raid for sponsoring this video, and now back to the regularly scheduled content. Starting off with the reasons why Ayato is so casual friendly, first, his skill ceiling to master him is extremely low. Not just in the sense that it's so easy to spam the normal attack button, but also because his cooldowns are somewhat easy to manage for players who don't theorycraft rotations. Although his Hydro Infusion only lasts for 6 seconds, a 12-second cooldown starting from when the skill is cast makes it easy for players to switch out Ayato to use their support skills for setting up buffs and generating energy during the 6-second downtime. Compared to Childe, with great power comes great responsibility, because even with the freedom to use Childe's Hydro Infusion for variable amounts of time, mismanaging his Hydro Infusion can be very punishing with the cooldown. Childe's Hydro application has a higher ceiling, but Ayato's Hydro application is very potent still and attractive because of how easy he is to pilot. Alternatively, Ayato's short stints of 6-second Hydro slashes can even fill in for the downtime of characters who also have Elemental Infusion. For example, Raiden Shogun can be a main driver in an Electro Charge team with Ayato's burst as support and then Ayato coming on field when Raiden has downtime. This is why Ayato's short stints of Hydro Infusion can even be seen as an upside compared to hyper carries like Xiao or Sino, who take up lots of field time. The next reason why Ayato is great for casual players and even theory crafters too is because his build is friendly relative to characters who have very specific setups. The 2 best artifact sets on him are the 4-set Heart Adept and the 4-set Gladiator for the consistent normal attack damage that they give to his Hydro slashes. The 4-set Echoes of an Offering comes in at 3rd place because it can be a pretty good option specifically for players with low ping. Heart Adept's domain is an insanely resin-efficient domain to farm, as you're bound to want new Blizzard Share pieces for most crowd DPS characters like Ayaka, Ganyu, Rosaria, Kaya, etc. And as of version 3.0, Heart Adept can be crafted in the artifact strong boxes like the Forset Gladiator, which adds another easy source of artifact farming to your Ayato. With the standard build of attack, hydro damage bonus, and crit, the only real issue for building Ayato is his need for energy recharge due to his 80 energy cost burst. In most setups, Ayato is recommended to have around 150 to 160% energy recharge, which is a little bit daunting for a DPS character. Luckily, Ayato has a crit damage ascension, allowing you to sacrifice a little bit of crit for energy recharge in artifacts. The crit damage ascension combined with the consistent resin efficient artifacts are what make Ayato so easy to build, even if you don't have premium weapons like his signature Haran Geppaku Futsu. Another reason why both casual players and theory crafters love Ayato is because of his functionality at C0. Pretty much all 5-star characters are great at C0, but a lot of them have game-changing constellations, providing a dilemma to dolphins and even light spenders. Characters like Xiao and Yolan are extremely popular at C0, but also have C6s that completely change the playstyle of the character. Other characters take a less lucrative approach and have significant power spikes at C2. This is a popular number for Hoyoverse and is observed on many characters like Raiden Shogun, Nahida, Nilo, Albedo, Kazuha, and the list goes on. Luckily for you, Ayato has none of the above. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, it's that Ayato's potential to apply Hydro and contribute to reactions is completely unlocked at C0, which is why his full value is so high. Yes, Ayato's constellations are all okay damage increases, but they are not worth your Primo Gems compared to the power spikes that other characters get from constellations. C2 and C3 work in harmony to bolster his skill's damage by focusing on an increase in max Namisen stacks and an increase in talent level respectively. C4 and C6 are not gameplay changing constellations that change his Hydro Infusion uptime. Rather, C4 is an increase to attack speed and C6 is another DPS increase that front loads some more Hydro damage at the start of Ayato's Hydro Infusion. Even if your C0 Ayato doesn't do insane damage because you don't have premium 5-star weapons, his Hydro application lends himself to utilize lots of reactions which contribute to your team's overall DPS rather than personal DPS. You can contrast this playstyle with something like Ayaka and Ganyu who deal pure crowd damage, or Xiao who deals pure anemo damage. For the final reason why Ayato is loved by all players, and for this reason especially theory crafters, it's because of his team flexibility. The best way to illustrate Ayato's flexibility is to provide a couple examples of his outstanding team compositions, so let's start from the oldest teams first, then make our way into what's currently popular. First up, we have the Child International team, but instead of Child, we have Ayato. The Child International team is an ancient team that dates back to version 1.6 with the release of Kazuha, but even today it still remains as one of the most consistent and strongest teams in Genshin. Ayato is a popular substitute in this team for the exact reasons that I talked about earlier in the video. His cooldowns are easier to manage for non-theory crafters compared to Child, and his Hydro application levels are sufficient for characters like Xiangling to eat up vaporized reactions and deal huge damage. However, you might be thinking using Bennett, Kazuha, and Xiangling all in one team is highly demanding, as these are undoubtedly some of the most top tier characters in the eyes of theory crafters. Well, if that's a concern of yours, that's exactly how we move into the next team, introducing Ayato Sunfire or Ayato Soup. Sunfire is a popular term for the pairing of Jean and Bennett, where Bennett's burst will apply Pyro onto your own characters, and then Jean's burst will apply Anemo onto your own characters to swirl the Pyro and transfer it to nearby enemies. Soup comes from the idea of pairing an Electro character with the 3-element core we have with Bennett's Pyro, Jean's Anemo, and Ayato's Hydro. Think of it like a metaphor. Soup that you consume in real life has a lot of ingredients to give the broth different flavors. A soup team in Genshin takes that idea to combine the ingredients, which are the 4 different elements, to create different flavors, which are the variety of reactions ranging from Vaporize and Swirl to Electrocharge and Overload. While Jean swirls Pyro onto the enemies with the help of Bennett's self-Pyro application, the Electro character introduces Electrocharge with Ayato's Hydro and Overload with Jean's Pyro swirls. This team removes the need for both Kazuha and Xiangling by adding in Jean plus an Electro character. The 3 most recommended Electro characters are Fischl, Raiden Shogun, and Kuki Shinobu in an Ayato Soup team, due to the fact that these characters are not reliant on the Electro Resonance for extra Electro energy. However, as long as you're building enough energy recharge, other off-field Electro characters like Beidou, Lisa, Electro MC, or Yae Miko also work fine in this slot. Jean is a staple character to Sunfire teams specifically, just like Bennett, but any other character that can infuse their elemental burst with Pyro, like Sucrose, Venti, or Kazuha, can also be used in similar fashion to create a normal variant of Ayato Soup teams. Child International and Soup teams have both been around before Ayato's release in version 2.6, but now let's fast forward a few patches beyond Ayato's release and into Sumeru. Ayato's newest team archetype uses him as a driver for Dendro cores in a Hyperbloom or Burgeon team. These setups generally use a Hydro Applicator, a Dendro Applicator, and either Kuki or Toma for Hyperbloom and Burgeon respectively. Kuki and Toma are the staple units for Hyperbloom and Burgeon, but other characters like Dori and Shinyan have also started to find a niche in these Dendro teams. The last slot is a flex slot that can use a variety of elements. Some of the easiest options to include if you're a player just breaking into these Dendro teams are a second Dendro or a second Hydro character for more consistent blooms. Kazuha and Sucrose are also fantastic options to infuse their bursts with Hydro, buff the team's damage, and deal reaction damage themselves with high EM builds. Theory crafters will know that you can even slot in crowd characters like Rosaria or Layla to form a fridge team where the Dendro aura is preserved on the enemy, which also results in more consistency when creating Dendro cores. Regardless of who you pick in the flex slot, this video is about Ayato. Ayato works exceptionally well as the Hydro Applicator in these Bloom related teams, not only because of his solo Hydro application, but also his easily manageable cooldowns that I talked about earlier. Energy is a big problem for characters like Kole or Dendro FC, especially if they're the solo Dendro, but Ayato's fragmented field time allows them to switch back in mid-rotation to use their skills twice per rotation instead of once. Of course, being able to cast your skill again will generate more energy and lower energy requirements. Even if your teammates don't have energy problems, as long as they have short cooldowns, there's a possibility that Ayato's brief uptime and downtime allows them to cast their skills more frequently than normal. Casual players who don't map out rotations will find delight in the fact that they can easily cycle between characters to fish out a few more elemental skills and generate more energy. Contrast this with the other most popular Hyperbloom driver, Cyno, who has a burst that lasts up to 18 seconds and can hog up to 90% of the field time. Altogether, these three teams that I've discussed should provide a pretty clear illustration of Ayato's flexibility in teams and role as a Hydro Applicator. Just like many other popular Hydro characters, these three teams are not the only archetypes you can put Ayato in. Ayato's value comes from his consistency and can be a great option to pull for even if you already have another Hydro character like Kokomi, Child, Yelan, or Xingqiu. And with that, let me know your thoughts on Ayato and whether or not you're planning to pull on his rerun. If you enjoyed this discussion video, learned something new, or I convinced you to pull for Ayato, be sure to support both the video and the channel. You can follow me on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, or sub to the YouTube channel, whatever people do nowadays. Other than that, it's the same as always. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.